So if you're looking for a Toyota Supra, this is a 22. It is for $56,000 at Porsche Irvine, 55.9 something. I just want to talk about the design of this car. First, I understand, well, I kind of understand the partnership that Toyota has done in the past, like with the Toyota 86, or is that what it's called? The FRS and the Subaru version, the partnership that they did with Subaru, that was understandable and cool. Why Toyota had to go or went with BMW for the Supra, I don't know. I always consider, as a car guy, whoever produces the engine and the chassis is the producer of the car. The body is the skin that goes over the top of it. So I would prefer to get a BMW over the Toyota version of this car because that's what all the underpinnings are. When you open the hood, it's BMW all over the place. You could tell it's a BMW like it is with their convertible, the 4 Series convertible, I believe they call it, X4. So you can tell it's a BMW. On the inside, it looks all BMW as far as the design and everything goes. And so Toyota taking the outside of the BMW and designing the Supra over it. I mean, the Supra has such an iconic name to it that has such history. So I think it diluted it a little bit by making a Supra out of a BMW. And a few of the decisions that they made in doing that, I question. First of all, let's look at some of these things. First of all, on the outside of the car, they have a generous amount of, they call them graphics or unused vents and intakes. This is not real, not real. This is not real. It's just there to catch air, I guess. Now, I remember when this first came out and car reviewers started at wondering why all the intakes that are fake. I mean, if you remember seeing this car when it was in the concept stage, how cool it looked. And I know they have to make adjustments when they go to the actual production version of the car, but to me, it's just one of those things that make you wonder, like, why it's not going to become the iconic car that it could have been to go along with all the other Supras that were produced. They said that when they came out with these vents, that they're going to leave this to the tuners to go ahead and make these, um, do something with these vents, so like make them real. Like you could have easily made this a vent or an intake to cool the brakes. You could have easily made this a vent to cool the engine bay. Same thing for the rear brakes. But you look on the inside, it's a vent that goes nowhere, and I think that just makes it cheap looking. As far as the overall design of the car, I think trying to bend a roadster, front engine roadster shape into a coupe sports car, I think the front end is too large compared to the back end. This is probably the best part of the car is the back three-quarter panel with how they, or three-quarter of the car, where they have everything looking very compact, very flowy. Everything about this, I think, looks cool when you're looking at it at this angle. But as soon as you start coming towards the front, it starts to get very long and bulbous looking. There's no contour to the hood. It's just one big round swath of sheet metal on the front. I'm not terribly upset with the front look of the car. At least those vents, those 3 intakes, access a radiator and they're useful. But yeah, I think they could have done so much more with the design of the car if Toyota just would have designed a Supra from the ground up and not try to share it with a BMW. I mean, this is Japanese, a classic Japanese name that now has the underpinnings of a BMW. So I don't know. I question that decision, and I think it's going to hurt the desirability of this car in the long run. I think the older Supras are going to be much more coveted, going forward as a classic car than this will ever be. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is the design of the roof. So I'm going to set this up right here and then try to get into the car. And I think it would have been a lot better if they would have included this part of the roof in like a framed door, because getting in, the seat is as low as it can go inside, getting in, butt down all the way, and that's where my head hits to get into the car. So I have to kind of like crane in to get my head into the car, and that's where you're looking at driving height. And I'm 5'11". My eye is right at the top of the window, so it's like I'd even have to, if somebody was in a truck that I knew next to me, I'd have to go like this just to see who it was. I think this totally should have been included in part of the door. Let's take a drive. Okay, so inside the BMW/Supra, besides that, like I say, I feel like I want the seat lower. Even from a driving position, it's as low as I can go. The steering wheel as high as I can go. And it's probably at mouth level, top of the steering wheel. So, like I say, I feel like I'm too high as it is. I see a fair bit of the hood from this position. Whereas I like to adjust my seat so that I could just barely see the outline of the hood, so I see where my corners are. This I see a bit, like I'd say from my viewpoint, like a 3-inch stripe of hood across the top. Car sounds good. I mean, you put it in sport mode. And it sounds good. Like I say, but everything looks BMW. This is totally BMW. Everything's BMW. It doesn't remind you of Toyota except for the Toyota badge, but everything else is BMW. People may say that, oh, that gives it more credibility as a quality car. And I beg to differ. I think that if you're looking at a Toyota and you want a Toyota sports car, part of the appeal of having a Toyota is the inexpensive maintenance, or the more inexpensive maintenance, the reliability thing, understanding that this car could potentially go 250,000 miles because of Toyota quality. Whereas knowing that everything under here is BMW, I think is going to, in the mind of somebody buying a Toyota Supra, is going to understand that this can potentially be a very expensive car to maintain. And when things start breaking after 100,000 miles, that's going to be some expensive repair bills. Now, because this is a sports car, maybe people are like, oh, people aren't going to take this 100,000 miles. It's going to be a weekend car. But I think that's part of the appeal of having a Supra, is knowing that it's a Toyota and you could daily it and you could put tons of miles on it. So we'll see. The future, we'll see how this turns out. Okay, as far as the driving goes, very fast. I don't know how many horsepower it is. This is a 3-liter. I'm sure it's turbocharged. Has really good acceleration. The shifts are extremely jarring. It's not like an instant smooth transfer of power from gear to gear. It like kicks you in the back with every shift. Now at least that's in sport mode. Come on, Prius, get out of my way. Got a BMW/Supra here. Let me see in sport mode and see how the shifts are. I'm sorry, in normal mode. Much smoother in normal mode. It didn't have that extreme kick. Another thing I noticed driving this slightly fast is you do feel like you have to learn how fast you can go in this car. It's not a confidence-inspiring drive like it is in a 911. it, you know, you feel like you have to hold on a little bit. I don't know how that is with the BMW version of this car. I'll have to drive that the next time we get one in. But this, it's fun, it's fast. I like it in sport mode because of it's the sound that the motor gives you. But I don't like the shifts. I wonder if you could adjust that. You can feel that when the traction gets to its limit, it kind of almost feels a little top heavy, like the back end wags a little bit. I don't think it's losing traction, but it's almost like the body has to try to, like the body has to like try to keep up with the traction of the tires. Definitely fun, sounds great. But I don't know if you can see that. It's like you turn the car and the body has to, it almost like this type of thing when you're driving. Maybe those in the Toyota Supra GR world know differently or have different insight into why Toyota did a partnership with BMW. I think it would, if they're going to have to do that for money reasons, I think it would have been better if they would have done it with Subaru again. So yeah, interesting. Like I say, not a bad car to drive. You could tell you're driving a BMW though. If it weren't for the Toyota badge, I feel like you would think you were in a BMW. So, final thoughts on the GR Toyota slash BMW Supra. I think the buyers for this car are going to be guys that are into this design of the Toyota Supra, this whole concept of the Supra body on top of a BMW chassis. I do doubt the long-term value of this car because they did a partnership with BMW, but you know, only the future will tell. Driving experience, fun, not great. Felt a little unstable when you were trying to drive it at the limit. I have a feeling it'd be a learning curve and a very cautious learning curve if you're going to drive this car at its limit or close to the limit, because like I say, it doesn't feel like you're as connected to it as you would be in like a Porsche 911 or even a 718 for a 22 Toyota Supra. If you're interested, you could check it out, Toyota Irvine. If you want to see other cars that I review like this that we have for sale, either Porsches or the cars that are traded in on them, you can subscribe. Thanks for watching.